Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today is part 3 of the video series on building a retro rifle utilizing Brownells components to build a M16A1 retro rifle. Part 1, we discussed the components that we were using in the videos, especially the retro components that were manufactured by Brownells, the new handguards, new pistol grips, stock, barrel assemblies, and so forth. Part 2, we assembled the lower receiver utilizing the Brownells parts kits. Brownells receivers, Brownells stock pistol grip. As you can see, these are the A1 style. These are the retro style pistol grip and the stock assembly. And part 3 here, we're going to deal with the upper receiver. We're going to show you how to assemble an A1 upper receiver, install a barrel, install the forward assist, rear side assembly, and then we're going to go through gauging for as far as headspace gauges. And lastly, we're going to take the sucker out to the range and we're going to see how it shoots. First thing we're going to install is the forward assist assembly. We're going to be utilizing a roll pin punch holder. Again, when you have size Sasquatch fingers, it doesn't help. You're not going to be able to hold these things in place by hand. We're utilizing a DPMS teardrop style forward assist. We're going to insert the spring over, insert it into the receiver. And we're going to start the roll pin from the bottom. This is generally the easiest way, is from the bottom. Now, at this point, I just want to start it because I want to hold it in place. I got to push in, not all the way, but pretty close to it. As you can see, we're in place. Now I got to take the roll pin drive to drive that flush. Again, I want that flush into the receiver so it's not sticking out. Just like so. It's not sticking out. So we have a functioning forward assist. Next is going to be the rear sight assembly. So we're going to try to do this so you can see it. The first part we install is going to be our leaf spring. Just like so. Next is going to be our rear sight and windage screw. You want to do this so it's L-shaped. And we're going to have to center that up mechanically. We're now going to rotate the screw until we can get the rear sight centered. And we're about centered. At this point, we're going to drop in the detent spring, just like so. And then the detent plunger. Again, when you have big hands, this is difficult. Yeah, we're going to do this the easy way. What we have here is the windage screw, the detent spring. Now we have the dial itself. The trick here is to line up the holes in the windage drum with the holes on the screw. Which we did like so. Now once again, we have a very, very tiny pin that we're going to have to utilize a slave punch for. And this specific slave punch, you can see from this flat here, this is designed for this specific purpose. But we first want to make sure that we have this aligned properly. We're going to drive in the roll pin. So it's flush. Now we're just going to rotate that over, make sure everything is working properly. Like so. Now is one of the parts that I despise the most, the ejection port dust cover, because again I have very large fingers. Insert the door. Make sure you have the clip at the end. The leg, top leg, is on the front towards the bottom. Now you rotate. Lots of different ways of doing this. Now we have the ejection port cover. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start working on the barrel itself. The first thing that we're going to do with the barrel is we want to put some anti-seizure. This is Molly Coat. This is to prevent the anti-seizing on the threads. Some people just like to use their fingers for this. I don't, because this makes a mess. Now you have a pin, and you have the guide hole in the receiver, as you can see, like so. Now we're going to hand tighten the barrel nut. And what we're going to do is we're going to install the barrel nut. Now this is very important. This is done in this particular process. We're going to set our torque wrench to 35 foot-pounds, and this particular wrench is it's also Brownells, but it's manufactured by Smith Enterprises. So what we're going to do is we're going to torque to 35 foot-pounds. I'm going to back it off. 35 foot-pounds again. Back off. 35 foot-pounds. I now have to align the snap ring, spring weld, and the delta ring, or the slip ring, whatever you want to call it. And this is necessary so we can do the alignment for the gas tube. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the bolt carrier with the alignment gauge. And we're going to see that's already going all the way through. So we're good to go now. Very rarely is to do that on the first hit. So we see from the alignment gauge, everything is all lined up properly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install the gas tube. Which we're going to install from the rear. Rotate. Now we have to make sure that the gas port is pointing down. The other thing is we have to make sure that the hole is aligned properly with the gas tube and the front sight post. Sometimes if it's not pushed in all the way, you'll put the roll pin in and the bolt won't close because this is sticking out too far. So we're going to get another roll pin holder. It's another very small pin. Now we're going to drive that in flush. Now we have our gas tube. Now the hand guards. We have left side, right side. Now we have our handguards installed. Now we're going to be putting a birdcage suppressor on here, which is proper for the model. We have a spring nut. We don't use crush washers on these normally. Normally you would use a spring nut. Now we're going to take this over and we're going to torque it down. We're now going to torque the flash suppressor with the spring weld. This is about 20 to 30 foot-pounds. And that's all there is to it. Okay, now we're going to reassemble the bolt carrier group after we use it for the gas tube alignment. It's nice and stiff because it's brand new. Next thing we want to do, anytime we install a gas tube, is we want to make sure that that goes in there smoothly, that the carrier key goes right into it, doesn't skip into it. So it needs to be a smooth transition, which it is. I'm going to assemble the upper and lower receiver. Now we have our completed M16A1. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do a function check to make sure everything is working properly. So I'm going to put it on safe. I'm going to pull the trigger. Nothing should happen. I'm going to go over to semi. I'm going to pull the trigger. I should hear the hammer fall. Now while holding the trigger rearward, I'm going to pull the bolt back and release. Now when I release the trigger, I should hear a metallic click. That's it being reset. Pull the trigger again, I should hear the hammer fall. Release, I should hear the click. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do headspace checking. Now very few people when they build these rifles do this. Because for the most part, these parts are drop-in. But you never know. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the go, no-go, and field gauges. Now how you want to do this is you want to disassemble the bolt. And you want to remove the extractor assembly. And we're going to put it back together again. I'm going to separate the upper and lower receiver. The first one we're going to look at is going to be the no-go. When using the no-go gauge, the bolt should not lock. So we're going to insert the gauge. And I'm going to close the bolt. As you can see, the bolt will not go into the lock position. The next one we have is the field gauge. The field gauge, the bolt should not lock, which it does not, as you can see. The last gauge is the go gauge, and on this one the bolt should completely lock. And as you can see, it does. So those are the three main gauges that we look at when we reassemble. So this rifle now, as we've assembled it, is everything is assembled properly. It's passed all three headspace gauges. And I think what we're going to do now with this rifle is we're going to take it out to the range and we're going to see how it shoots. I want to thank Brownells for all of their support with this. They provided me with all the tools, and they provided me with the parts to bring you this. I'm very happy to be able to bring you a build like this. This is really exciting for me because of the fact that I love the A1s. The A1s and the original 16s they're my favorite rifles of them all. You know, there's a very, very big demand right now for retro rifles. There's many companies now who are coming out with making retro parts. Nobody has gone to the extent that Brownells has in being the only ones to actually make furniture, to bring back the old furniture. There's a lot of people who are doing incredible work with engraving. I've seen a lot of beautiful property U.S. government M16A1s. I've seen all those. You have several companies who are doing the finishing. U.S. Anodizing is one who probably will see this rifle to get it charcoal gray, to get it more of the proper color. But as you can see, it's not too difficult to put these things together. You just got to know what you're doing, and having the proper tools makes all the difference in the world. And if you guys have any questions regarding this, let me know. I do have my own armor schools as well. I'm not sure when we're going to be scheduling another one, but I'm sure we will be. Again, this one was specifically geared towards the M16A1s and the M16s. Our classes do cover the M4s, pretty much anything you can imagine. And if you are interested in an armor's manual as well, my armor's manual is on Amazon. So you can get a copy of my armor's manual, which covers all of these. It covers the A1s right through the M4s. It goes through all of them. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll try and answer as best I can, or certainly join us at one of our question and answer periods. I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share. Thank you.